This is exactly the kind of news you love waking up to if you're a 49ers fan. Because the biggest question heading into this Seahawks matchup has officially been answered. George Kittle is back. Not speculation, not coach speak, not a hopeful practice report. This came straight from George Kittle himself inside the locker room, saying he will absolutely play against Seattle after missing the previous game. And the moment you hear that, the entire tone of this matchup changes, because this offense is simply different when number 85 is on the field. Anytime George Kittle suits up, you're getting more than just a tight end. You're getting energy, toughness, physicality, and a guy defenses have to account for on every single snap. Even when the ball isn't coming his way, the impact is still there. Safeties hesitate. Linebackers cheat. Running lanes open up. Passing windows get just a little bit cleaner. That's the ripple effect Kittle brings, and that's why this news is such a massive boost for San Francisco at the perfect time. It was frustrating not seeing him out there in the last game, especially knowing how much he wanted to play. Primetime, big stage, and a matchup that meant something. You could tell that one stung, and that's part of why this return feels even more important. When George Kittle misses time, he doesn't come back quiet. He comes back fired up, looking to remind everyone exactly who he is and why he's been one of the most respected players in the league for years. And now think about the timing. Short week, Seattle, high stakes, everything on the line. This is the type of environment where Kittle thrives. Physical football, emotional football. The kind of game that demands tone setters, and few players set the tone better than him. Just having him announced as active forces Seattle to rethink their entire defensive approach, and that alone gives the 49ers an edge before the game even kicks off. Let me ask you this real quick, because I'm genuinely curious. Does George Kittle playing change how confident you feel about this game? Yes or no? Drop it in the comments, and while you're down there, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any updates as we push toward 1,000 subscribers. Hit like if this news fired you up, because we're just getting started, and there's a lot more to unpack about why Kittle's return matters even beyond his own performance. With George Kittle officially back, now you start to understand why. This news goes way beyond a simple injury update, because what he brings to this offense doesn't always show up in the box score. Yes, he's capable of taking over a game as a receiver. Yes, he can rack up yards after the catch and punish defensive backs who take bad angles. But the real value of George Kittle is how much easier he makes life for everyone else around him. Start with the run game. When Kittle is on the field, defenses have to respect his blocking just as much as his ability to leak out into routes. He doesn't just get in the way, he moves people. That allows Kyle Shanahan to call plays with confidence, knowing the edge is secure or the second level can be reached. Suddenly those outside runs hit faster, those cutback lanes are cleaner, and the offense stays on schedule. That matters even more in a game like this, where weather and physicality could be major factors. Then there's the passing game. George Kittle demands attention. Safeties can't ignore him, linebackers can't relax, and that hesitation creates opportunities elsewhere. Brandon Ayuk gets more space. Deebo Samuel sees fewer bodies collapsing on him. Brock Purdy has clearer reads and more margin for error. Even when Kittle isn't targeted, he's still influencing the play, and that's something very few players in the league can do consistently. There's also the emotional side of this. Kittle isn't just a talent, he's a heartbeat player. You feel his presence on the sideline and in the huddle. Missing the previous game clearly bothered him, and that usually translates into a high-energy performance when he comes back. This is the type of matchup where you expect him to come out aggressive from the first snap, blocking with intent, finishing plays, and setting a tone that carries through the entire offense. So let me throw this question your way. What do you value more from George Kittle in a game like this? His blocking or his receiving? There's no wrong answer, but I'm curious where you land. Drop it in the comments, and if you're enjoying this breakdown, take a second to like the video and subscribe. Every new subscriber helps us get closer to that 1,000 subscriber goal, and it keeps these daily 49ers updates coming. Now, as exciting as Kittle's return is, he's not the only name on the injury report, and there are a couple of other situations we need to talk about that could still have a real impact on how this game plays out. As good as the news is surrounding George Kittle, there are still a couple of injury situations that you can't completely ignore, even if one of them isn't setting off major alarm bells. Let's start with Christian McCaffrey, because seeing his name pop up on the injury report always gets people nervous. He didn't practice due to some back stiffness, but based on everything coming out of the locker room, this doesn't feel like something that's going to keep him off the field. McCaffrey himself has sounded calm about it, and that matters. When he's dealing with something serious, you usually hear it in his tone. This feels more like maintenance than concern, especially with how much usage he's had. The 49ers are smart with him, and if there's even a small chance to give him extra rest, they'll take it. The expectation right now is that he'll be available, and when you factor in what he means to this offense, that's another reason for optimism heading into this matchup. The real concern, though, is Trent Williams. This is the one situation you actually have to monitor closely, because hamstring injuries are tricky. They don't care how tough you are or how badly you want to play. They heal on their own timeline, and rushing them almost always makes things worse. John Lynch has already acknowledged that Trent is fighting to get back, and that alone tells you this is something being taken seriously. There's also a strong chance the 49ers keep this close to the vest. Even if they already know what direction this is going, there's no incentive to tip their hand early, especially against a division rival. We've seen players like Kittle and others miss significant time with hamstrings, so nobody should be surprised if this goes right down to the wire. And if Trent can't go, it forces some adjustments up front that could influence the game plan. So let me ask you this. On a scale from 1 to 10, how worried are you about Trent Williams right now? Be honest. Drop your number in the comments. And if you want to stay on top of every update as we get closer to kickoff, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on. We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers, and every single one helps. Now, injuries are one piece of the puzzle, but this game has another element that could shape everything from play calling to execution, and that's the environment they're walking into. When you start factoring in the environment for this game, it adds another layer of intrigue, because Seattle games are rarely simple, and this one might come with some weather attached to it. Rain has a way of changing everything. It affects footing, ball security, timing, and even play calling. And if the forecast holds, this could turn into a game where toughness and execution matter more than style points. We've seen this movie before. There's a clear memory of a rain-soaked matchup in Seattle that started messy and eventually turned into a statement game once things settled down. Those conditions tend to favor teams that can run the ball, control the line of scrimmage, and stay patient. And when you think about that through a 49ers lens, it actually lines up pretty well with what this team wants to do, especially with George Kittle back in the lineup. This is also the type of environment where physical players shine. Blocking matters more. Finishing plays matters more. Mistakes get amplified. And that's why Kittle's return feels even bigger when you consider the setting. He thrives in chaos. He thrives when the game gets uncomfortable. That edge he plays with tends to carry over to the rest of the offense, and that can be contagious in a hostile road environment. Then there's Brock Purdy. This isn't unfamiliar territory for him. He's already played meaningful football in this building under similar conditions, and that experience matters. Rain or not, this team has shown it can adjust, stay composed, and take over when the opportunity presents itself. The key is surviving the early stages, protecting the football, and letting the game come to you instead of forcing something that isn't there. So let me throw this one to you. Do you think the rain helps the 49ers or the Seahawks more in this matchup? Drop your answer in the comments, and if you're enjoying the way this game is shaping up, make sure to like the video and subscribe. We're building toward that 1,000 subscriber mark, and this is the best time to be part of it. Because when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, this isn't just another regular season game. The stakes are higher than that, and what's on the line could define the entire postseason path for this team. When you strip everything down, this game feels like a playoff game in every sense of the word. The intensity, the setting, the opponent, and what's at stake all point to something bigger than just another week on the schedule. This is about positioning. This is about opportunity. And most importantly, this is about controlling your own path once the postseason begins. There's a reason this matchup brings back memories of that classic finale in Seattle years ago. High stress, high emotion, everything on the line. One stop, one play, one moment that swings an entire season. That game ended with the 49ers earning the top seed and riding that momentum all the way to the Super Bowl. And the parallels here are hard to ignore. Win this game, and the door opens wide for something special. Locking up the number 1 seed changes everything. Home field advantage in the playoffs isn't just a nice bonus, it's a massive edge. Playing in front of your crowd, sleeping in your own bed, keeping your routine intact, all of it adds up. The path to the Super Bowl becomes clearer, and the margin for error gets a little wider. That's why this game carries so much weight, and that's why having George Kittle back in the lineup feels like such a critical piece of the puzzle. This is the kind of moment teams are built for. Physical, football, mental toughness, handling adversity. If the 49ers take care of business here, they put themselves in the best possible position to make a real run. Not just to win a playoff game, but to go deep and maybe even finish the job. So I'll leave you with this. Does this feel like the biggest game of the season to you? Let me know in the comments, and if you've been watching and haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Help us reach that 1,000 subscriber goal. Like the video, and stick around because there's going to be a lot more to talk about as this postseason push continues.